All right, friends, welcome to another edition of the Interstellar Tennis Podcast.
The Interstellar Tennis Podcast.
This is my podcast where I talk about whatever I want to talk about. I talk about music sometimes, and I talk about not music a lot of the time. I have taken a hiatus from doing the podcast for a little while because I was working on the release of the Interstellar Tennis Championship, the record. I have a record of the same name pretty much, which is exciting. And I also wanted, I had some personal stuff, which I've been posting about. It's all been good though. We're all good. But now I'm back and I want to restart doing the podcast because it's fun to do. It's fun to make. It doesn't take very long, and it's just a little treat to get to do. But yeah, that's what's going on that's some of the stuff that's going on in my world at the moment. One thing that's really exciting me right now is I am in the process, pretty deep in the process, honestly, of recording the next record. The next record is going to be called 100 Cowboys. And I'm super stoked about how it's sounding. It's I think a really cool record. It's like a bit of a breakup record. It's a bit of, it's got some cowboy elements to it. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of heart, and I'd say some brains as well. But I'm super excited about it. I think it's a really cool record. And we're kind of in the mixing phase of it at the moment. We're recording it right in this studio, which is right next to my bedroom, my little home studio. And it's been fun. Me and my roommate Noah, who co-produced a lot of stuff off of the last record. So he's doing a bunch of he's helping me to produce the whole thing, and it's kind of the first time I've gone into a record and been like, okay, this whole thing is pretty much team effort. We're going to do a co-production on the whole thing. And that's super fun. It's like a new experience because on Interstellar Tennis Championship, we co-wrote some stuff on it, but it was still, most of it was me alone. But on this one, it's like we co-wrote, I think 80% of the songs on the record. And we co-produced all of them. It's been cool. It's been really fun. And on the Patreon, I'm giving sneak peeks of some of the tracks. So if you want to hear some of the tracks, get on the Patreon, baby. What are you doing not on the Patreon? I think it's going to be 8 or 9 songs. One of them is an interlude that I think is really cool. And it's just a vibe. You know, all live instruments. I think there might be one MIDI track on the whole thing, and that's just some software horns. And no one gives a shit about that, right? Like, having a MIDI instruments are freaking great. No one cares if it's a MIDI instrument, but I really like to not have MIDI instruments because it just makes the whole thing feel more tangible, like you're really touching stuff and dialing in knobs. If I had my way, I wouldn't ever use MIDI. It'd be fun to track a whole project to tape, but tape's so expensive, and also I don't really know if I have the skills, the technical skill set required to record a record to tape. But it would be fun. Yeah, so working on 100 Cowboys, it's going to be a cool record. We'll see how it goes. Outside of that, we're doing a lot of jujitsu right now. Carter, you do jujitsu? You're goddamn right I do jujitsu. Carter, are you good at jujitsu? No, we're not good at jujitsu. We're a white belt. We're white belts out here. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I got some good folks that go to this gym. It's been a lot of fun. So jiu-jitsu, going to the regular gym still, getting huge, staying the biggest boy on the internet. You know what we do. Drinking some tea, some English breakfast. It's 6:00. We're still drinking English breakfast tea. I want to talk about a couple of things that I'm excited about. We don't have to spend long today. I know you guys have places to be. I got places to be. Maybe you're listening to this on the on the ride into work. Maybe you're not, maybe you're listening to this while you're pacing back and forth in the house, absolutely steaming after a phone call. I find that so often I'm post phone calls, I'm hopping mad. That's my default. I wish it wasn't, but it is. After I get off a phone call, I'm hopping mad. Um, but maybe you're not like that. Maybe you're better than me. And maybe you're listening to a podcast to, not to unwind, but to just for entertainment. That's cool. Um, if so, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. I'm having a wonderful time. Some of the stuff that I'm excited about right now. Number one, I just recently got that SonarWorks. This isn't like sponsored or anything. I had to pay for it. But SonarWorks Sound ID, which is basically a plugin or a software. It's not even a plugin, or there's a plugin version of it, but it's a software that you set up a microphone in your studio, and it plays a test sound as you move the microphone around the room, and it basically gets an impulse response for your whole studio. And that's just to tell you how sound reacts in that room, which is super helpful. If you're mixing in a room, super helpful to know where the peaks and valleys are. And in my room, let me actually pull this up because it's kind of interesting. I was surprised because, this isn't like a professionally treated recording studio, but it has some dampening. It's a pretty well-sized room, and I got good speakers. So I was like, oh, it's probably going to be relatively flat. Freaking dead wrong, baby. I got let's see what it is. I have like a 6 or 7 dB cut around 15K. I got a massive low end cut around 60 hertz. Just huge peaks and valleys. And so at first I did this whole thing and I was like, that's some serious EQing that it's doing. And I put the thing on and I was like, whoa, that sounds like shit. I thought it sounded really bad at first. Then I started working with it, and within about 2 hours, I was blown away. I was starstruck at how good my studio sounded after 2 hours of just working within the SonarWorks system and having their room treatment on my studio or in my room. So sounds great. If you're a mix engineer and you're struggling with conversion from, car speakers to headphones, all that, check out the SonarWorks stuff. It's pretty useful. So I'm stoked about that. I feel like my room is pretty well tuned now. We're getting some good mixes. I think. Yeah, that's cool. What else are we excited about? I defrosted a whole bunch of meat on my countertop. I know that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to defrost it in the fridge, but I had to do it quick because I thought I was going to make dinner that night. I thought I was going to make some steaks. Oops, didn't make steaks. Instead, I I went out. And left the steaks on the countertop. Carter, you can't be doing that. I left the steaks on the countertop. After leaving the steaks on the countertop, I came back home a couple hours later and saw the steaks and went, oh no. Fully defrosted, room temperature, dangerous. Put them in the fridge because I thought, I'm not going to waste these bad boys. And ate them the next day. Guess what? Didn't get sick. Was fine. Good day. Delicious steaks. I have 2 more. Gonna eat them tonight. Can't complain about that. That's the good Lord on your side right there. Not getting food poisoning from just leaving meat out on your countertop. Not a problem. Also, anytime you hear me whistle like that, it's inwards. I can't whistle outwards. I'm a professional musician and I can't whistle outwards. It's devastating. Wish I could. Really wish I could. The number of times people have made fun of me for being unable to whistle is actually surprisingly high. We don't love it. One day I'll learn it. I also want to learn trumpet. There's two things that I want to learn in music are whistling and the trumpet. So those are next on the list. Trumpets are expensive though, and I don't really want to like buy it before having the ability to play it. And so chicken and the egg, you're not going to buy a trumpet unless you can play trumpet, and you're not going to play trumpet unless I'm not going to be able to learn trumpet unless I have one. What am I going to do? What else is happening in my life? Or what else specifically in music? Today I've been using a lot of the UAD plugins recently. Super excited about that. The UAD Empirical Labs Distressor, which is a compressor that it's a super famous compressor used a lot on basses and drums and all sorts of stuff, vocals very often. I've discovered that using that on a mix bus, specifically like a music mix bus, so a bus that's not including the vocal signal, is super useful. It just glues the track together like crazy. I'm getting a call. One moment. Hello? No, no, thank you. I'm so sorry. Something about a mayor or something in Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut originally. Yeah, that's what that's something that I'm really excited about. The plugin that I used today and was like, whoa, that's freaking impressive. That's an impressive thing. Other music tools that I've been excited about. Let's see. I am pretty into this new Mellotron I just got. The thing about a Mellotron is it's not one of those like synths where you're gonna be able to use it on everything. It's so hyper specific. It has a lot of sounds on it, but all the sounds sound like a Mellotron. And if you are an indie rock artist looking for, the sounds of indie rock, it's almost always a Mellotron. It's always almost it's a Juno 106, or it's a Mellotron, or it's a Prophet. But even the Prophet is like, that's like on everything. That's more of a multi-tool. That's what the Juno is a screwdriver. The Juno is a screwdriver. The Prophet is the Prophet, I'd say, is like a drill with a lot of attachments. I wouldn't even say drill. It's one of those screwdrivers that has a lot of different attachments. You unscrew the thing and then pop a little one out, and it's flathead now. Oh, it's one of those little fucked up star looking things. Options. And the Mellotron is the Mellotron, I would say, is like one Allen wrench. And when you need that Allen wrench, oh my God, it's so exciting. But if you're making a lot of types of music, you're not using that. But I'll tell you what, for the music I make, which is, indie rock, bedroom pop, all that kind of stuff, indie pop, boom, you're going to be pulling out that Allen wrench all the time. I'm finding it so useful. It's crazy. But not only useful in like, oh, I need a sound for this thing. I'm finding it useful for coming up with ideas. Like there are sounds on there that I'll pull up and go, wow, wow, wow. And I'll go, whoa, that's an interesting sound. And it immediately will lead to an idea. And the economy of ideas is kind of what we work with as musicians. How quickly and how often can you come up with something new That's like the whole game, in my opinion. It's if you can just consistently come up with ideas and they don't all have to be good, but just an idea that you think, oh, that could be something. That's huge. That's something that recently actually I've been really excited about. Like in the last year or so, I feel like my musical language has expanded dramatically. Not in like particularly like my knowledge of theory or anything, but just in like what I hear and go, oh, that's the beginning of a song is way wider than it used to be, which is super, super fun. Like I remember I went through a long period of time where the only stuff that sounded like music when I was making it was 1 to 4 progressions. So I would be trying to write something and the only time I'd go, oh, hold on, that could be an idea would be, the A chord to the D chord or any in any key, but it would have to be 1 to 4 pretty much. And now I'm writing stuff that isn't like that. And that's seems so obvious, but it's huge. I think a lot of artists, myself included, you plateau, you hit a point where you're like, oh, I make music that sounds like this. And then eventually, hopefully, you go, oh wait, but what if I didn't do that? What if it was, and then all of a sudden you're growing again, and that's great. That's such a great feeling to be growing again. And I feel like I'm growing again. So much taller. I'm 8 feet tall now. So that's cool. That's a lot of fun. Um, I am also thinking about, we're coming up to the end of the year. I'm thinking about what my goals are because I've had a couple of like frustrating, a couple of frustrating things going on business wise. And so I am figuring out like, okay, where's my mentality going forward for making music and what I want out of this. And for me, I think I'm coming more and more to this idea that it's not about the results, or it shouldn't be about the results. Of course, I still care about, streaming numbers. I wish I didn't, but all that stuff does matter to me. But I'm coming more to this idea of what I want for myself. What I want to be is hyper, hyper, hyper prolific. I want to be able to make a lot and put a lot out. And I'm figuring out what the best way to do that is, like how to release music to maximize impact, but also not get too bogged down in, release a song, then spend the next 6 months promoting it to the detriment of creating more songs, creating more stuff. And I'm trying to figure that out, but I'm excited about it. I'll tell you that much. I think it's going to be really cool. And I'm now knowing that I'm thinking, okay, well, I just need to maximize what I create because that's when I'm happiest. It's when I'm making a lot of stuff and I'm pushing it out into the world. So next record's done, or I mean, being mixed, but it'll take me a couple weeks to mix it, and then we're cruising on to the next thing. And I have a bunch of ideas for the one after that, which is exciting. It's really exciting to be making stuff and kind of quickly coming to new things. And that's all good. Can't really complain about that. It's fun, man. And there's this post going around on Instagram, and I'm not trying, I get that a lot of artists take issue with this whole, you have to create, like now artists have to be directors and creative directors and like create long form and short form video content. A lot of musicians take issue with that in a way of like, it's not my job to make that. My job should only be to make music and then put it out. And so I saw this Instagram post that's a lot of musicians have shared, basically complaining like, this isn't our job. Like, why are we being forced to do this? And that just feels incorrect to me. It feels super wrong to me because you don't have to do any of that. It's just a matter of, well, then what was your, if you don't do that, if you weren't going to make it, quote unquote, make it via, taking advantage of the megaphone that everyone has, what was the plan to make it? What was the plan to have people find your music if not for publicizing it? I totally understand that it can be an uncomfortable proposition to be like, look at me, pay attention to what I'm doing. But if you're not going to be the one screaming out your praise, if you're not going to be the one amplifying your own voice, who the hell's going to take notice? You have to care so deeply. In my opinion, you have to care so deeply about your own thing that you're willing to to force other people to pay attention to you. That's the only way I have found that will work. Not that what I have done is uber successful or anything, but the idea of putting something out and going, okay, the people that will like it will find it somehow, is just not the case. And that's not a bad, in my opinion, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because you don't need necessarily to rely on gatekeepers now. What you need to rely on is your ability to draw attention. And look, this is the entertainment industry. You got to entertain. I don't know. That's just how I'm feeling about it. I'm willing to hear other ideas about it for sure. I get people. I think I understand the opposite side of this, but just in my experience, it's like, okay, you don't want to do the, making short form video content. You just want to make music. What the hell is the plan then? What's the tactic to get it in front of people? Because even beforehand, it wasn't like you just make music and someone hears it and goes, yep, that's the one, put them on the radio. I mean, that happened, but then you're relying on individuals to come and find you and like that music. This way, at least, you're allowed some, you can find an audience without someone being the middleman in that. I think it's a good thing. Everything is a double-edged sword, of course. In my experience, this is an opportunity more so than a huge peril for artists. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Now, let's think about. Let's jump to some stuff that I'm getting excited about in terms of other people's music. One record that I'm so stoked on right now is the new Jungle record. If you guys, I'm sure you guys have heard it because it's popping off everywhere, or at least it's all over my feeds. The record Volcano is unbelievable. I found it first through Back on 74, that dance that everyone's doing. But dude, the whole thing is crazy. Such great production. It's like the perfect overlap of loungy, kind of cool dance music and stuff that you can actually pay attention and listen to. It's like that Venn diagram of, this is great for the background and this is great for when I'm actively listening. I think it's fantastic. Also, just love the creative direction for the whole record. Like, they made music videos for all of it. And I paid the $10 to see the full music video. I think it's like probably 20 to 30 minutes, something like that, maybe more than that. And I was stunned. I was like, God damn, this shit hits. The whole dance troupe that they're using are just some of the most talented people. I was mind boggled. So cool. What else? I've another song that I'm super excited about. And I'm just beginning to dive into their discography. The band Idols, their new song Dancer. First off, what sucked me in was the music video. I love how the music video looks, like the really retro vintage look. Someone recently told me it's just boosting cyan and red and putting some film grain on it. And they were like, yeah, that's just, you just like music videos that look like that. Guess what? I do. And they nail it. It looks so freaking cool. And at first I was like, I don't know about this song. The music video looks cool, but I'm not sure about this song. Then, I watched it and listened to it, and I was like, okay. And then I showed it to someone else, and I was like, what do you think? What do you think about this? And they had the same reaction I did. They were like, I like the music video. I don't know about the song. But then me watching them watch the video and listen to the song, I was like, I think I fucking love this song. And then I showed it to one more person, and on the third listen, I was like, oops, this is my favorite song. It's the song Dancer by Idols. I guess it's also by LCD Sound System, although I don't know. I'm not hearing his voice, LCD Sound System on it, so I don't know. Awesome song, so much energy. I watched a bunch of interviews with the lead singer from Idols. Just sounds like a cool, intelligent guy. And I love listening to interviews of artists and being really pleasantly surprised. Like not even pleasantly surprised, just being surprised at what the person is talking about. Because this is like, it's kind of giving me like a hardcore band energy. Like there's some punk stuff, there's a lot of just like, it feels like a lot of rage. And then you listen to the guy talk, and he talks a lot about toxic masculinity, and he talks about he sounds particularly well read, which is cool. I was just impressed with the whole thing, and I'm starting to get sucked down a rabbit hole of like what these guys are doing. I think it's great. I think it's just so great. What else? I'm still really into Medium Build. I think his music is awesome. Another song that has been like heavily on repeat for me has been Spaghetti by K-Flay and Kid Sister. Kid Sister's my ex-girlfriend's band. Still fucking love the song. Just like really mind boggled by how, even the first time I heard it, I got to hear it before it came out. And I was just like, oh, this is about to be my new favorite song. And I've probably listened to it 4 times a day for the past month. It's awesome. It's so cool. Those are some songs that I'm super excited about. Just good stuff. Music is such a fun, it's just fun to listen to. I'm in this phase right now of not listening to a lot of podcasts and listening to a lot of music, which isn't always the case. I go through kind of phases of just listening to podcasts because I kind of get overwhelmed with like, I don't want to, I'm sick of the music I know, and I can't find anything new I like. This is not one of those cases. This past couple months, I've just been so amped up about the music I'm finding, and it's just feeling new. It's just feeling really exciting and new. Yeah. So good job, all you artists out there. Send me some stuff that you guys are listening to and liking. I'm really curious to listen to it. Maybe I'll start doing some like music reviews, although that I fucking hate listening to like certain music review podcasts, just like snarky ass people talking about why certain stuff sucks despite the fact that they don't make anything. I hate that. And I've heard my brother is I was talking to my brother. He is a writer, and he was talking about the need for critics and how that's kind of an art form in and of itself. And of course, I think that's true for some people. Sometimes I just really get bummed out by the idea of people that do not create art being the defining word on art. Ugh, gross. Whatever. It's not my place to decide this kind of stuff. Now I'm doing the same thing to critics. I'm critiquing critics despite not writing any criticism. So, what am I doing? What am I talking about? Good stuff. Actually, one more song that I'm particularly excited about that I think just the drum sound in this track is freaking awesome. The song If You're Lonely by Citizen. I never know whether to say citizen or citizen. I feel like I say citizen. But the band is Citizen. The song is If You're Lonely. Great music video. Great song. I've mentioned music videos a couple times in this one. I feel like the purpose of a music video should be to draw the audience deeper into a world, or if it's the first exposure to that musical world, it should be visually interesting enough and visually stimulating enough to let the audience ride on that until they're able to be buried in the song, which is exactly what happened with this new Idol song. I was watching the music video and I was like, I love this music video. I don't know about the song. And then I loved it so much that I came back to it and fell in love with the song. That's the ideal situation. So cool. Yeah, I have a couple music video ideas for my next record. And I really want, I'm not going to, I can't really share them yet, but I'm thinking about that visual aspect of it and I'm stoked about it. Yeah, I think that's all I have to share. I'm trying to think if there's anything that's, new and exciting in my world. Merch. I have merch now. Do you want to have a hat that I'm wearing? Look at that. The Interstellar Tennis Championship. You can buy that on, if you go to my Instagram, it's also going to be in my YouTube descriptions, etc. But you can buy the merch. If you want episodes of the podcast early, go to my Patreon. If you're listening to this early, it means you're already on the Patreon. But yeah, go ahead to the Patreon, sign up. It's $5 a month. Also, times are tough. I get it if you don't want to do that. I'm not offended. I'm hurt, but I'm not offended. Yeah, Patreon, merch is out. Go listen to the Interstellar Tennis Championship, the record. I think it's a cool one. I think there's a lot of cool songs on that shit. And yeah, tell me what I should listen to. Last but not least, I know I said this last time, but if you guys want to call and leave a message for the show, I haven't listened to any of the new ones. I feel really bad about it. I haven't listened to them because I took that big break from the podcast. But if you do want to call the show, you can call at, let's see. You can call my number at, how do I find it? I don't know how to find it. Settings. You can call my Google Voice number. Oh, and leave a message for your boy Carter, and I'll answer it on the show. My number is 213-986-7259. Go ahead and call me on the show, and I'll answer your questions or whatever on air. And that's that, guys. I love you very much. Thank you for tuning in to the least to maybe the least informative and least planned show on the interwebs. This has been the Interstellar Tennis Championship podcast. Interstellar Tennis Podcast, excuse me. I love you. Sleep well. Good morning. Eat healthy. Have a good one, folks.
The Interstellar